What is up, hockey fans, and welcome in to another edition of the Hockey Night on Broad Flyers pregame show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers play host to the Columbus Blue Jackets in Columbus, Ohio, as they meet for the first time this season. And a pleasant good day, everybody. I am your host, James Scorza, with you for this upcoming matchup between these two clubs, as the Flyers coming into tonight, as they are on a 3-game losing streak, coming into the game and trying to avoid their 4th straight loss. Columbus, on the other hand, is 500 on the year at 12-12-4, or 12-12-3 rather, and looking to try to get back on track. But like we always do before we get into our Shapiro today, I was supposed to be coming back on Sunday night when the Flyers took on the Utah Hockey Club, but I had some other things to do, so I'm kind of getting situated with my own new house and all that. So without further ado, let's get on with the program, as like we always do on the very important airways, as we check out the recap of the 2 previous games that happened on the weekend, as the Flyers took on the first of a back-to-back, rather, as they took on the Boston Bruins on Saturday afternoon, a matinee action. The first period became a good thing for the Flyers all season long, and it was the same once again this time around on this very important afternoon, as the Flyers at the nearway point of the first stanza, they will get a power play goal, and the presence of Matvei Michkov will come in full force yet again, and will show out in his game once again, and will get the first goal of the game early on in the first period, and an early 1-0 Flyers lead. Later on in the first period, the Flyers under the 2-minute mark of the first period, as a pass by Travis Sanheim was set up once again Matvei Michkov to give the Flyers an early 2-0 lead late in the first period after 20. To the second we go, as the Flyers look to try to get off to a good response, and they will find answers, and somehow in some way the presence of Alexei Kolosov will keep the Bruins scoreless throughout majority of the second period, but they will get on the board later on in the second period as a goal to give the Boston Bruins to cut the lead. The Bruins cut the Flyers lead in half to a 2-1 game. Later on in the second period, at the 5-minute mark of the second period, the Flyers will try to get a response, and they will find one, as a shot by Cam York to give the Flyers a 2-goal lead back at 3-1 around the 5-minute mark. Inside the third period, as the Flyers looking to try to get off to a good response here, but this is where the where the concern has been, the Flyers have not been consistent in regulation, and it will become a more factor once again this time around, as the Bruins will get another spark here and will cut the Flyers lead at only 3-2. Around the 5-minute mark, the Bruins trying to find an answer, and they will get it, as the Flyers the Flyers had an opportunity to make it 4-2, but instead a breakaway chance for Brad Marchand, and just like that, this game was all even at 3-3 apiece. Setting the stage for overtime yet again, and it's been a constant for the Flyers going back to the last couple weeks of the season, and once again, overtime will be the case on this Saturday afternoon at TD Garden, and a breakaway chance for Joe Farabee early on in overtime, and was stopped by Bruins goaltender Jeremy Swayman. And coming up the ice, it was basically we call him the Flyer Killer, if you like to say it like that, but he's like another presence of another David Krejci, or you like to call it like any of those impactful Bruins. David Pastrnak will get the game winner, beating Kolosov to complete the comeback for the Flyers, and that will be a 4-3 win for Boston, getting the 2 points, and the Flyers will only get 1 point out of it on that Saturday afternoon. To Sunday now, to the Philadelphia Flyers, where the Flyers were home on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday night rather, after the Eagles won right across the street on that Sunday afternoon against the Carolina Panthers. Sixers winning that same day as well, setting the stage for that night rather, as they took on the first time inexperienced and expansion hockey team called Utah. After a scoreless third period, a rarity that both goaltenders were shot in this game, and the return of Sam Mercer will be on full display this night, and he will make his return on that Sunday night in South Philadelphia as he was going toe-to-toe with Utah Hockey Club's goaltender Jackson Staber. Stauber. Sorry. Excuse me. Jackson Stauber. So there was no scoring in the first period. Now we go to the second period. And to the second we go, the Flyers will try to get some opportunities, but Utah will get the first crack at it and will get an early 1-0 lead early on in the second around the 12-minute mark. Just a few seconds later, after the Utah Hockey Club got a 1-0 lead, the Flyers will get a response, as this time it will be Joe Farabee finally will be rewarded for the goal, as Farabee will get his first goal after so many tries and will nod the game up at 1-1. 2 minutes later, the Flyers will try to get back and try to get some opportunities on that, but Utah once again was the big story in this game on Saturday night. This time it was Utah striking again to give an early 2-1 lead from a goal for Utah. Later on in the second period, the Flyers will get a response once again. This time it will be Owen Tipp again, the goal, and just like that, it will be tied up at 2-2 apiece. But the Flyers were caught napping towards the end of the second period, as this time Utah will try to get a response for the third straight time, and they will get it just 2 minutes later on a backhand and will take back the lead, and that will be a 3-2 Utah lead after 40 minutes to play. Not much very much in the third period, but the Flyers getting opportunities. But the one thing that was a big constant in the third period, kind of like what happened in the game previously against the Boston Bruins, not taking advantage of it when it was there, and basically Utah retrieving the puck after a mistake by Flyers forward Morgan Frost to give, and Utah would seal the game for the first time ever against the Philadelphia Flyers, and they will take it 4-2 that night on Sunday night in South Philadelphia. And we are setting the stage for tonight's matchup between the Flyers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like I mentioned, the Flyers playing their first game against Columbus for the first time this year, and the first time in quite a while since the Flyers took on Columbus. The last time I think Columbus and Philadelphia played against each other was in 2023 when they opened the season up against Columbus, when that team that year was basically they were looking to try to find an identity with Travis. I'm sorry, not with Travis Konechny. I'm sorry. It was more like it was basically the beginning of a positive season for the Orange and Black, and they had played many times before then, but this is the first meeting, hard to believe, in December, taking on teams in the Metro Division. So setting the stage for tonight's matchup for the Flyers and Blue Jackets. For the Flyers, their fair share of wins and losses have been a constant all season long, but it's been a work in progress for the Orange and Black. And even when they play good hockey, they come out and play with a lot of intensity. That's the biggest thing I take out of it too. And moving one step forward and moving in a positive direction, but sometimes you have to get some wins in the Metro Division. So I'm advising everybody tonight to keep a close eye on some of the players that the Flyers are going to keep a close eye on for Columbus. Not very much know who is on Columbus. That's going to be a big factor, but they could probably sneak out a win here and there like they did all season long. And like I said, they're 12-12-3 on this season. They are 500 for the Blue Jackets. They have the same record as the Flyers, but the difference is they have one overtime loss that the Flyers have, the one overtime point that the Flyers have. They're 12-12-4, and Columbus is 12-12-3. So, like I said, the Columbus Blue Jackets are trying to find their identity after a tragedy that happened over the summertime as a Columbus Blue Jackets forward, Johnny Gaudreau, was lost due to a tragic accident that basically suffered his life, and it's going to be an emotional night here. So the presence of Johnny Gaudreau is going to be, I can imagine it's going to be a night for everybody to check out here. So I advise everybody at home to check out everything about it too. As we got a comment here, honorable mentions, and I definitely want you guys. And he's basically, there's a guy commenting and says that I definitely want you guys to win tonight, that y'all can get over that 500 slump. I do agree. and he's a Dallas Stars fan, and he says my Dallas Stars are playing okay, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we'll be seeing Dallas very, very soon, so I'm hoping to see a lot of good presence of Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz and all the others. So this will be the first game of a road trip for the Orange and Black. They'll be back home on Thursday night for the final time of 2024, and then they will be on a road trip as they go up to Minnesota, and then they go to play Detroit along the way. So there's a lot of road trips along the way, including a West Coast road trip in the next couple weeks or so, right before or towards the end of the holiday break and right before the New Year's here. So, like I said, this is the last time the Flyers on Thursday night, so I'll be back with that Flyers pregame show to talk about this previous game and also as well. But let's get into who's trending up and who's trending down on this very important night here in South Philadelphia. For the Flyers, it's been a constant all season long for Matvei Michkov becoming a real big storyline for the Orange and Black, and he has shown a lot of great teams for the Orange. He's shown, basically, he's been a rookie, but it's not shown that he has not been playing like a rookie. He has been playing fantastic for the Flyers and has a very good resume to start out the year. He's going to be on that Four Nations all-star team with Team Russia, so it's good to know he'll be taking the place of Evgeny Malkin and also Alex Ovechkin, who are both out now due to injuries. So he'll be a big one step forward for everybody to look forward to that, especially when that time calls for it. But Matvei Michkov, again, his goal streak continues to be amazing by everybody. His points everywhere, and also he's been very solid all year long. Michkov has 11 goals on the season, 14 assists, and also 25 points as a career high for a Flyers rookie. So he has been trending up very, very precisely. He's going to probably look the same here tonight, as he's going to be trending up more as we get closer and closer to puck drop. But for who's trending down, it's been a constant. I brought it up on the post-game show a couple nights ago with my good friend and also my colleague from the Pasadena Sports Show. Joey Marks was asking about what the power play is going to be looking like, but that's going to be the one thing that you're going to keep a close eye on tonight. The other thing I'm going to keep a close eye on tonight is the presence of, the division keeps on climbing and climbing for teams to try to capture that division. Obviously, the Rangers are not in the same team. They basically got rid of their key defenseman, Jacob Trouba, over the week to Anaheim. So they're looking to try to find out what their identity is. If you can find ways to get a good observation of what the Flyers need to do for the upcoming season, and also when you get ready for the upcoming postseason push, when that time calls for it right after the All-Star break and also those next few months. So you got to stay very close in the division. You have to stay very close to everything about that. But the constant is that trying to stay very close with the teams like Washington, like Pittsburgh, and the list goes on and on, even like a Carolina here and there. That's going to be a big stepping stone for the Orange and Black. So basically, it's going to be a calling card for them to actually play very good teams and actually get some wins against those very good teams. So it's been a constant all year long. Like I said, it's a rebuilding process, but I expect more as the night rolls on. All right, let's check out our injuries and scratches tonight. There's not a lot of injuries. Literally, there's only one injury in this game tonight for the Orange and Black, so everybody's back tonight for the Flyers. The one player that's not going to be in the one player that's not going to be with the Flyers for quite a while now, that's going to be the forward of Nick Delorier, who's now on IR now due to upper body injury. Sam Erson's back, Jamie Drysdale. Everybody's back tonight, fully healthy. So I advise that's going to be the same here tonight in Columbus, Ohio. All right, let's check out our starting goaltender matchup. As for the Flyers, it will be Sam Erson back in goal tonight after a disappointing outing on Sunday night against the Utah Hockey Club, who is now 5-3-2 this season and has a goals against average of 2.83. And for the Blue Jackets, it will be Elvis Mers-Lincolns, who is 9-7-2 this season and has a goals against average of 2.95. And before we go, we're going to talk about our predictions. So for me, this will be a get-right game for the Orange and Black, and I hope it will be the same here tonight. I advise everybody to stay very positive about this Flyers team. They're not looking okay. Sure, they look like they really struggle sometimes against opponents, but they play well when it's needed to. So I say the Flyers will win tonight. I feel like we always win in Columbus. Actually, believe it or not, it was a long time ago. Before I go, there was a time that they haven't won in Columbus. They had a streak going, but they have won the last couple of times when the Flyers and Columbus met off against each other. They have been they have been playing to competition. And sure, Columbus has that annoying Kennan that I can't stand, but hey, they got a real good team over there. But they'll be finding ways to try to nurse that Johnny Gaudreau tragedy that happened over the summertime. So they're still trying to find their footing, but this will be a good get-right game for the Orange and Black as well as we get closer and closer to the puck drop. And that is a wrap for the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. But remember to stay tuned after the game for the Third Line John postgame show with, I believe it's Pat Bernard and Joey Marks, and I would hope to see, and maybe I'll be on tonight. I would try to be on tonight if I would love to, but I'd always love to understand why I'm very appreciate everybody that wants to come on the show and also to do everything about it. So like I said, stay tuned after the game for the Stream Punk Entertainment Third Line John Flyers postgame show immediately when the clock hits 0 and when the game goes final. So thanks again for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. It's good to know that I have something to talk about tonight, especially some Columbus teams. I will be back again on Thursday night as the Flyers will be back home for the last time in 2024, like I mentioned early on, as they take on the Detroit Red Wings. That will be at 7 o'clock right here in South Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. And after that, it will be a long road trip to close out 2024. And the next time the Flyers will be home again will be in January of 2025. But before I go, I want to say thank you to everybody who's chimed in. And also, like I said, we're always on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter. You can check us out at Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show on Hardcore Sports Network and also our friends over at Stream Punk Entertainment. But until then, this has been the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. And I'm your host, James Scorza, here saying so long from here. Until then, we'll see you next time.